I swear there isn't a day that goes by where there is a positive reflection of Keir Starmer's leadership. Every day it seems as though more rally against him and his leadership. In today's video, we will be discussing why Keir Starmer has been stricken with nightmare news as he's pummeled by October surprises. Not only that, but we will also go over all of the latest British political news from the last 24 hours. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and to keep up to date with all things Westminster. From a freebie fiasco to revolting Labour MPs, Starmer's first few months as Prime Minister have been tainted by a series of political controversies. Resigning staff, policies targeting pensioners, and a continuous negative commentary about the state of the economy has led the majority of the public to hold a negative opinion of the new leader. Fact: Starmer has achieved a worse rating as Prime Minister than all of his recent predecessors, except Liz Truss, who didn't manage to last as long in the job. New polling by YouGov, collected between the 22nd to the 25th of October from adults, shows just over a quarter, 26%, think the Prime Minister is doing well. Meanwhile, almost two-thirds, 58% of the population, think he is doing a bad job. This is a stark contrast to the last Labour Prime Minister Gordon Brown, with over two-thirds, 59%, of the public believing he was doing a good job in office just over 3 months in, compared to a third, 29%, who thought Brown was doing badly. Tory Prime Minister David Cameron was also well received by the public and on par with Brown's levels of popularity at the same time in the role, while just under half, 46%, of Brits backed Theresa May. The previous Prime Minister Rishi Sunak experienced similar levels to Starmer, with 29% of respondents saying he was doing well and 53% believing the opposite. But nonetheless, Sunak still managed to beat Starmer's rating. Following the 100 days mark, 40% of the public thought Boris Johnson was doing a good job, while 49% rated the previous Tory Prime Minister poorly. Starmer's ratings differ across the political spectrum, with Conservative voters far more critical of the new Prime Minister. Amongst Tory voters, 91% of respondents were critical of the Labour leader, while only 6% are supportive. In contrast, 61% of Labour voters think Starmer is doing well, compared to 26% who say the opposite. Over half of Lib Dem voters are also critical of the Prime Minister, with only 35% saying he is doing well. The only age category who believes the Prime Minister is doing more good than bad is amongst those aged 18 to 24, with 35% saying he is doing well, compared to 31% who believe his actions so far have been bad. However, a high number, 35%, do not know how well Starmer is doing as Prime Minister. This is tragic news for Keir and is officially the worst Prime Minister of all time. Some achievement that. What are your thoughts on Starmer's reign so far? In other news, Chancellor Rachel Reeves will unveil Labour's first budget on Wednesday, October 30th, with the eyes of the nation waiting to hear what tough decisions are to be rolled out. Several key motoring changes have been hinted at, with drivers anxious to see if prices will rise or the way they travel will be impacted. The cost of motoring has spiralled in recent years, and many are looking at the new Labour government to provide help through new policies, tax cuts, or even the scrappage of controversial features. Fuel duty, car taxes, and motor insurance have all caused issues for motorists, amid fears prices could be hiked even further. Just days before the Chancellor stands before Parliament, drivers are still waiting for answers. To help motorists prepare for the upcoming autumn statement, Parliament Watch has rounded up the most important changes that could be introduced next week. Fuel duty. In 2022, then Chancellor Rishi Sunak introduced a 5p per litre cut to the price of fuel in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which has since been extended twice. While the 5p cut will expire in March next year, there are suggestions that the Chancellor could use fuel duty as a way to claw back finances. Some have even suggested an inflation-linked hike to prices. Since the cut was first unveiled, it was hoped that the average car driver would save £100 per year on their fuel. However, major retailers and supermarkets failed to pass on those savings, meaning many motorists missed out. Petrol and diesel prices have been falling since the start of the year, with optimism that this will continue. Motorists could see a slight jump in prices if fuel duty were to be hiked by around 7 pence. Speaking previously, Keir Starmer said that Labour would look at fuel duty on a budget-by-budget basis. An HM Treasury spokesperson said, "Following the spending audit, the Chancellor has been clear that difficult decisions lie ahead on spending, welfare and tax to fix the foundations of our economy and address the £22 billion hole in the public finances left by the last government. Decisions on how to do that will be taken at the budget in the round." Car tax road pricing has become a popular topic of discussion once again, as experts warn the government that they could see revenue fall even further without an overhaul to the current system of motoring taxation. A system of pay-per-mile car tax could be rolled out in the near future after Treasury officials told the previous government that such actions could be necessary to ensure fuel duty receipts don't run out. As more drivers switch to electric vehicles, the amount of petrol and diesel being purchased will fall, meaning the government could end up losing as much as £35 billion per year. Organisations like the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change and the Campaign for Better Transport have called on the government to introduce a pay-per-mile system to ensure all drivers pay a fair portion. This would work by charging all motorists a flat fee for every mile they drive. Suggestions have ranged from 1 pence per mile to 5 pence per mile, or even as much as 15 pence per mile. Speaking in an interview, an HM Treasury spokesperson said, "We have no plans to introduce road pricing. We are committed to supporting our automotive sector as we transition to electric vehicles in order to meet our legally binding climate targets." Car insurance. Recently, Transport Secretary Louise Hay and Economic Secretary to the Treasury, Tulip Siddiq, launched a new task force to crack down on spiralling car insurance costs. Such measures were included in the Labour manifesto, with prices rising an average of 21% in the last 2 years alone. The task force will identify the factors behind rapidly rising premiums and will agree to solutions to keep costs under control, analysing inflation, rising car thefts, and the amount of potholes on roads. Pump Watch. In January, it was announced that the government would launch a consultation to make it easier for motorists to see how much fuel is in their area through a pump watch scheme. The scheme would see real-time fuel data be published to show where the cheapest petrol and diesel prices could be found. Former Energy Security Secretary Claire Coutinho said it would promote competition and transparency. The new Labour government have not yet hinted at whether they will move forward with such measures, although it could be seen as a suitable measure if fuel duty rates were to be hiked. Potholes Rachel Reeves could provide extra funding to the Potholes Fund, which is currently £8.3 billion. Labour highlighted the issue of potholes heavily during the lead-up to the election, saying they were a visible sign of the decline after 14 years of Conservative rule. Labour pledged to maintain and renew the road network by fixing an additional 1 million potholes across England in each year of the next Parliament. This is being funded by deferring the A27 bypass project, which was described as poor value for money. Many motorists will be hoping for additional support as they navigate the scourge of potholes on Britain's roads. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.